So, hi YouTube. I wanted to talk about this book. So, this is Alistair Reynolds' book, Revenger. Um, it's uh, it's awesome. It's an absolutely fantastic book. Basically, I had heard about Alistair Reynolds for a long time, but I had heard it was kind of hard science fiction, and it wasn't the sort of thing I normally read. So I kind of put it off for a long time. But then I'm kind of in the right mindset to start reading harder science fiction anyway, and I've done a lot of that in the last few years. So I thought I'd give Alistair Reynolds a go. I picked this one, and then I started reading that this was his attempt at YA, which I just saw another YouTuber earlier say that YA isn't a genre, it's a demographic, which I think is a really cool thing to say because I think that's true. But anyway, regardless of that, I'd expect certain things with YA. I'd expect most of the characters to be very young, or at least the sort of the approach of the characters to be very young. I'd expect it to be written without too much technical detail, and I'd expect it to have a massive kind of relationship heavy kind of plot. I don't really think this is YA at all. It is easy to read. It's got a really fast pace. And it's a lot of fun, but I don't think that necessarily qualifies it as YA. The main two characters, the Ness sisters, are young, and that must be why it's been called that. I don't know. I want to read more of his stuff. I'm going to read the rest of this trilogy as soon as possible, but I do want to read other things he's done, because this is quite recent, so I want to read the older stuff that gave him his name, and presumably that's going to be more scientific. I don't know. There is a lot of scientific detail in this. Everything is backed up. Everything is explained. There's no kind of sense of an author winging it or just kind of saying something for the sake of it, which might be the case with some way. I don't know. I imagine that's not really something that a 14-year-old would worry about as much as someone in their 30s or something. So I imagine YA probably has some things skipped. There's nothing like that in this. Everything is explained. Everything technical makes sense within its world. It's a very clear mix of science fiction, kind of space opera size science fiction scale, and pirates. And there's definitely a sense that both of those worlds are colliding in this book. Definitely. It's done really well. It's not a sense of, it's not kind of an excuse to do a pirates thing, and the science fiction element is a minor element. It's running through the whole thing. It's every kind of plot device, every setting is very clearly based around a very technological approach to science fiction. So it is definitely pirates. There's no doubt about it. But it is definitely science fiction. So I found it really interesting, the fact that you kept those two aspects of it alive through the whole thing. So I'll give you a massively reduced plot thing, so there's no spoilers. So basically, you're introduced to these two sisters quite early on, and through something that happens really early in the first couple of chapters, they end up colliding with space pirates, and they are on this ship, and they discover that they are bone readers. Bone readers are connected to this network of communication amongst these spaceships, and it's kind of a very respected and a job that is kind of seen as sort of only certain people have this gift, so they're very special when they find them. So pirate ships, space pirate ships, spaceships that pirates in them, they value their bone readers. So they have initial success on this first ship they go on. There's lots of ships in this book. I won't tell you why, you shouldn't spoil it, but the plot goes all over the place. It's really cool. There's lots of twists and turns and betrayals and all stuff like that. But anyway, they settle in relatively smoothly. and then something massive happens, and that kind of sets off the course for the rest of the book. And as you can probably imagine with the title, it ends up being a book about revenge, which is a very piratey plot line, to be fair, isn't it? But it's so much more than that, and it's got some really interesting concepts in it. Again, that idea of turning something relatively familiar into a science fiction trope is really cool. The characters are just beautifully written. The two main sisters are absolutely believable, and you really care about them. And one in particular, she's, I won't say which one because again it might spoil it, but she's got a really interesting character about her that is kind of stretches, potentially you could argue might stretch the believability of her age and what she can do, but I think you run with it, it totally works. And the other characters, the minor characters, have all got very plausible and real personalities as well, which is really cool. So he's covered everyone really. There's no sense that I don't know who's this guy, or don't know what their motivation is and all that sort of stuff. So all of the minor characters have got a very real three-dimensional sense about them as well, and there's the way the plot moves is kind of character based as well, and by the end of it, the last third of the book just keeps surprising you in really cool ways, and there's a really cool robot in it, which I'm hoping is going to be in the other two books as well, called Paladin. Robot called Paladin. It's cool, isn't it? So yeah, I was absolutely shocked at how brilliant this was. I was just trying the author out, and I was loving it. I was really enjoying it, and I just didn't want to. I read it really quickly, and I didn't want to. I wanted to keep going back to it. So it was a lot of fun, but also kind of it wasn't just mindless. It got you thinking as well. So yeah, Alistair Reynolds' Revenger. It's awesome. You should try it out.